Yep, and here we go, guys, in what could be the last game in the tournament. In the top right part of the map, we have our red Zerg player from the team MVP. He came back, took out MMA. Can he do the same thing against HerO? It is DongRaeGu. And down in the bottom left, we have our blue Protoss player from Team Liquid, one game away from winning the entire tournament here at Hot Import Nights. It is Liquid HerO.
And HerO has just played so impressively, man. He's won 4 games in a row against DongRaeGu. So as dominating of a performance as DongRaeGu had against MMA in the beginning of their sets is what HerO has done to DongRaeGu. So I'll be curious to see what he can do from here on out. It looks like he's going to drop the pylon up at the front. No real surprise. This is Cloud Kingdom, which is interesting because Protoss players love to do 2-base attacks here, and this was a pick from DongRaeGu.
Well, I mean, if you think about it right now, I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. I mean, nobody that I can really remember anytime recently has taken so many games in a row off of DongRaeGu. It's just unheard of. So HerO really on top of his game today, in prime position to win the tournament here. And we'll have to see what he has planned for Cloud Kingdom, sending out that scouting probe early on, and DRG probably going to put down that spawning pool in just a moment.
Yeah, 15 pool, no real surprise there. Yep,
there it is.
Drone in position, and he does take that. So HerO now looks like he is going to go for Forge first up at the front, using this pylon as part of his wall, though, which some players do opt to do. Of course, then you just need one more structure to full wall this off if you choose to do so, but it just gives you a little bit extra security at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, so now going for that forward first does give you the option of being very aggressive in how you deny the Zerg expansions. We don't see it a whole lot at the tip top of pro play, but there is always the option to put down a pylon and then a cannon as well. You know, I mean, it's there. It's a threat that Zerg does need to kind of take into account, and we have a bit of Mortal Kombat going on between two workers here, and oh, the drone coming out just ahead, but there is a pylon blocking that hatchery, so DRG going to need to wait till he has some Zerglings out before he can take that second base, and that's going to slow him down.
But the probe had the lasting success.
That's right.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
The probe laughs last.
Yes.
If it laughs at all. It doesn't have a mouth, so it'd have a hard time laughing.
Yeah, it kind of just chomps
and
together a little bit. Yeah.
So does it even feel emotion? I would guess no.
Or does it?
That's right. Maybe it does.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Better.
If it feels anything, it's feeling fear right now. It's getting chased by Zerglings.
Look at this, though. I mean, DongRaeGu sitting on almost 500 resources. He's really had nothing to expend his money on right now.
Yeah.
And his opponent's base, despite even going Forge first, is going to be finished up well ahead of this next hatchery.
Oh, look at that, too. Blocking with a gateway as well. So HerO really going all out in terms of blocking DRG's expansions. And this is actually really serious. I mean, HerO is, spending some resources having to make and cancel these buildings. But the thing is that DRG's hatcheries are going to be so much later, he's going to need to start producing offensive units to deal with what HerO sends at him a lot earlier as well. He's not going to be able to drone up as much as he wanted to. So this is kind of a rough spot for DRG to be playing from early in the game. Certainly not a situation you want to be in what could be your last game of the tournament.
Yeah, that's right. And HerO's pretty well protected back at home now. He's got that photon cannon up, kind of hitting on all cylinders. Both of his gas just dropping in as well, and he starts to make a cybernetic score. So everything is just going swimmingly for him at the moment. Now, being very disruptive does kind of set you back a little bit in supply. I mean, you do have to cut a couple of workers, or you're a little bit slower to put up your structures, that sort of a thing. But the economic gain you get is well worth it. And DongRaeGu, still at the what's going to be the 6 o'clock mark, is not going to have a second base.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough to come back from. Like I said, your drone production is going to be less. When they attack you, you're going to have to start making units before you have a good amount of drones, and HerO knows that. So definitely, I would say expect some sort of 2-base push from our Protoss player from Team Liquid. Absolutely, he should try to take advantage of this really good early lead that he's gotten.
Yeah, especially, I mean, it's a pretty big tell as well. I mean, he decided to put up +1 and build a Stalker before he ever started his Warp Gate technology as well.
Why not?
So he wants to make sure that he has all of those upgrades in position, and starting that +1 so far and ahead of his Warp Gate may mean that he can hit some sort of a 1-1 push as well. So
he certainly could. I mean, expect a lot more gateways down for a Liquid HerO in the near future as well. He's going to want to time that out, like you said, with Warp Gate research, with that +1 ground attack. And DRG, what's he going to do out of the situation? He needs to make sure that his injects, his macro, are all absolutely flawless in this situation, because he needs to get out as many drones, as many units as he can in advance of whatever HerO is planning on doing to him.
First couple of units are now out. No subsequent gateways up for HerO quite yet, but he's starting to build up quite a few resources and can start warping at a few, sentries, which are very low on mineral count, of course. There we go. First couple of sentries coming in now, and he will build up enough for at least 2 or 3 more gateways here in a second.
Yeah, we'll see what he decides to throw down in just a moment. DRG, you know, speaking of that macro that I was talking about, has been able to do it. Okay, all right. So there's a saying in StarCraft 2 that goes, if you're ahead, get more ahead. And that's exactly what HerO's going to try to do. He knows he's ahead economically, and so why not? He knows his opponent is not in a situation where he can really attack him and do a lot of damage, so he's going to go ahead and take a relatively safe third base.
And he's cutting really well against this as well. I've got to say, that control is very, very good. He does end up losing the Zealot, kills 4 of the Lings, and the other ones are very, very low at the moment. As we can see, though, this is going to be gateway number 2 and 3 up at the front here next to his third base. Oh, but DongRaeGu is going to pick up on it immediately. Yeah,
he's going to see it, so DongRaeGu has the choice now. He's like, all right, do I want to go for some sort of Roach Max, try to run in, deny this third base, and kind of make my opponent waste those resources that he used to make it, and then try to defend it? Or do I take this advantage that my opponent is not going to be as aggressive as I thought he was going to be and just drone more, just get a better economy myself, maybe even think about taking a 4th base? So DRG has to make that decision right now, and it's a tough decision.
And DRG is going to be on 70 drones here in just a second, so he's droning up to that level that we saw in the first couple of games, or what he was trying to do, and now he's sitting on 6 gas with a Spire already coming up. That Roach Warren just in case he needed any Roaches to stay safe, so maybe revealing his plan from what he had a few games ago.
I think that's a good choice by DongRaeGu. I mean, going for the Spire, he's going to be able to get a lot of Mutalisks out right now on this map. His opponent's going to have a bit of a hard time defending against that if he doesn't get a good Stalker count out in advance of those Mutas showing up. So DRG taking his 4th base and then saying, all right, I'm going to make a lot of Mutalisks, I'm going to harass my opponent a lot, keep them away from my side of the map, and thereby doing that, get the economic advantage and standing I need to go into a strong late game. So DRG has his plan lined up right now. The question is, will it work? HerO, on the other hand, has his 3rd base already. He's making use of that. He's planning on when he's going to make that big push to try to take advantage of his opponent.
Yeah, and he decided to produce an Immortal, first of all. Okay, there is one observer out, but where is it at the moment? I want to see what he's been able to see so far, because it looks like DongRaeGu already has an Overseer in position to go ahead and intercept that. There we go. Observer going to make its way across the map. It'll start going through the middle. If DongRaeGu is able to pick up on this is a big swing for him, because now the Spire is finished, and Liquid HerO needs every second at his disposal to be able to prepare for any sort of eventual Muta switch.
Yep, we'll see what happens here. 7 Mutas on the way right now for DongRaeGu, and that's a lot of sentries on the map for HerO, and they aren't very good. I mean, they can shoot up, but against Mutalisks they don't do too well. So HerO's going to need to definitely add some Stalkers on. He's doing that right now. In fact, making 5 Stalkers. As soon as he sees the Spire, actually, he's also getting his Twilight Council. You can be absolutely sure he's going to start that Blink upgrade as soon as he possibly can. He's going to need to prepare. He's even putting a couple Photon Cannons in his mineral lines, and there's the Blink upgrade. So HerO knows what he's up against now, and he's going to try to prepare.
Yeah, and we may even see a quick Templar out of him as well. A couple of Photon Cannons are coming up. Looks like he's certainly tried some hold position mind throw. Now they're just freaking out because they're all getting slaughtered. Yep. But yeah, Liquid HerO is going to be able to clean that up pretty easily. But now he's preparing for what he sees out of his opponent. And will it be enough? He has a few Stalkers in position. Blink is obviously not finished up, and the Muta count is continuing to rise.
Yeah, things looking a little bit rough for DRG at this particular second, though. He wasn't able to really get in and do damage at the natural expansion. He's going to try the 3rd. HerO's just going to kind of keep making Stalkers at this point. We'll see where he wants to take himself later in the game as far as tech goes. But I think DRG is just going to kind of continue to make Mutas. He's going to try to go for that really, really heavy Muta style. Once you get like 30 Mutalisks, 35 Mutalisks out on the field, you can just kind of power through whatever the opponent has in some cases.
Templar Archives is coming up, which is exactly what HerO needs, though. He'll need to be able to hopefully drop down a couple of key storms as the game moves along, and it looks like DongRaeGu just wants to engage this. All of his Zerglings were force fielded out, though, but he does have enough damage to take down quite a few of the units on the ground for HerO, at least all of the sentries, which is what looked like what he wanted, but he did suffer the loss of about 3 Mutas on the way.
Yeah, killing off those sentries, though, is so helpful to him. I mean, he's going to be able to not worry about force fields all that much in the future. Sentries are expensive, too. That's 100 gas per sentry that HerO doesn't want to spend. And here we go. DRG, oh, he gets through the crack in the wall, and DRG moving right into the main base of HerO.
And HerO just uses Cycle as well. Oh, holding position around the Photon Cannon. So cool, so we can allow the Photon Cannon to do a little bit of extra additional damage. There's Blink, and he is able to get on top of the units, but the Nexus is in danger of falling.
Oh, man, he's going to kill the Nexus, but is it worth it? He lost a lot of Mutalisks. Oh, man, he lost a ton, down to just 5 Mutalisks. That was a lot of resources put into just killing the Nexus. And yeah, it will hurt HerO's mining for a little while, but I don't know if that was worth it from DRG, man. Well, time will tell, but he dedicated a lot of resources into doing that.
And we'll see if HerO wants to get aggressive at all. He does have a few Stalkers sitting out in the middle of the map, but it looks like more Zerglings continuing to swing in now. There are a couple of Archons there, and they can chew through those units very quickly, but there's just not enough of them, unfortunately. There's a blink on top of the Mutas once again. Most of the Mutas have fallen. The Archons, while taking quite a few kills, do end up going down, but that supply gap is narrowing a bit. HerO's starting to catch up.
Yeah, DongRaeGu's been very cavalier with his Mutalisks, losing a lot of those, taking a lot of damage on some of them as well, and if you're doing something like tech switching out of it, you can afford to lose some Mutalisks like that, but I feel like it's a little bit too early for DRG. He's not in like dire straits just yet, but it makes me worry a little bit. As a Zerg player, I'm like, oh man, you just lost a lot of Mutalisks there. That's going to make it kind of tough to defend if your opponent decides to get aggressive. Now, he is going for Banelings too, because he knows that his opponent is really low on sentries right now. He knows his Banelings will probably be able to connect and do damage, so DRG, you know, really setting up for a strong late game push here. But HerO, you know, still not in a bad spot to defend something like that. And two, this game is just so close right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen HerO have some pretty ridiculous defense against Banelings with just storms, actually. So, and just correct positioning of armored units that don't take as much damage. So, we'll see what he's able to do. But it looks like HerO trying to roll through with a few zealots here to try and disrupt this space. But unfortunately, the entire army of DongRaeGu is waiting for him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, DongRaeGu, oh, look at that, immediately moving his Banelings away. He does not want HerO to know that he's going for Banelings. And he did have a good amount of spine crawlers there, too. That was a good base defense by DRG. As a car alarm goes off, the Mutalisks are just so scary, man.
He's like, watch out! Right. You don't even know what's on the field right now.
And here come the Mutas trying to do more damage. And HerO needs to make a run for it now.
Yeah, 3 photon cannons going down. Oh, but he blinks on top of the Mutas, is able to take 3 or 4 of them out. A lot of others getting low, but not as many died as I had anticipated. Supplies is 170 to 190 at the moment, though, and HerO continuing to move out.
That's right. His units are a little bit spread out here, and DRG trying to take advantage of that.
We'll see if he can start rolling through, but off to the right-hand side is where the concentration of the forces are for HerO. And there's the Storm on top, trying to take out most of the Banelings, and does get a lot of them. The Banelings using themselves on Stalkers, and it looks like HerO, for the time being, is going to be able to hold. He may lose this Nexus, though. Yeah,
I think DRG should be able to take out the Nexus. It'll be close if he doesn't, but man, he lost a lot of Banelings. The Storms and the Nexus! Oh, he does get it down. Oh, man, gave me a heart attack there. HerO, though, still with the supply advantage. He's got +3 weapons finishing up right now for these units. And DRG, I don't know if he quite has the Mutalisks to handle this. He's going for Greater Spire, but this is such a tenuous spot right now for our Zerg player.
Yeah, and takes a little bit more damage on those Mutas as well. I mean, HerO certainly has the potential to counterattack. Whether he takes it or not is another matter, whether he thinks he can sit back and defend. But, of course, he's taken a lot of economic damage over the course of this game. There are a few Spine Crawlers sitting up there over on a wall. But how much energy does a High Templar have? Well, okay, he has enough for one storm, but I'm surprised that's the only one that's out there.
Well, I mean, he's been using these Templars so effectively. HerO just is one of the best players out there with High Templar. His storms are always in the exact right spot. And, you know, he's going to have Archons after those Templar run out of energy, too. So very strong push coming in for HerO. This base could be dead if DRG doesn't respond, and it looks like he's going to counterattack instead.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot here for HerO. He's going to try and deal with these Mutalisks, but they are very, very powerful at the moment. He's forced once again to move all of his units away, and Mutalisks and Zerglings are tearing up another Nexus.
Killing yet another Nexus. That'll be number 3 for whoever's counting. These Zealots not lasting too long, killing a few units anyway. Oh, HerO does save the Nexus, but DRG moving into that 4th base right now.
And there are a few Photon Cannons up and a good number of units to defend as well. Yeah, it looks like these High Templar do have a couple of storms at their disposal.
Well, I mean, HerO's got some really good base defense going. I mean, this is kind of the same thing that we saw in his game against Quantic Illusion, actually. One of the ways that HerO was able to come back and win games was just through really, really great patience and defensive play. And we're seeing that right now against DongRaeGu. HerO knows that this could be the game that wins him the tournament, so he needs to be very careful.
We've got to make sure that, obviously, he doesn't have patience to a fault, though. As we saw in Team Arena Challenge against Anyang, you know, he sat back for too long, had opportunities to kill his opponents, and then eventually the Zerg player was just able to have HerO kill himself on his own unit. So Looks like HerO going to try and push in a little bit here. May try to bait some units into some storms, but doesn't want to get too far forward.
Yeah.
Mutalisk coming back for another counterattack.
That's right, but the count is not quite high enough, getting chased away pretty quickly. And DRG not really making as many Mutalisks as he has been in the past because he is switching over to Broodlord tech now. And HerO, you know, does have a good amount of Blink Stalkers out to handle that, but if DongRaeGu can get good fungal growths on the army of Liquid HerO, prevent those Stalkers from moving, he's going to be able to win. So again, it comes down to army control more than really anything else here in this late game.
That is a lot of Broodlords. 8 are already got 4 more on the way now. So DongRaeGu starting to put down that Spine Crawler Forest. We do see the Stargate coming up for HerO, so we will eventually be able to move into Fleet Beacon and eventually Mothership here, but he's going to need some more Archons. He's going to need a little bit more anti-air.
Yeah, DRG is going to attack right now, man. He wants to take advantage of the fact that HerO does not have that Mothership. Storms and good feedbacks going down on the army. DRG waiting until the Templar energy is lower before really moving in.
Yeah, now here come the rest of the Broodlords, 10 of them in tow. Blinkstalkers moving off to the side. They are able to pick one of them off. Storm actually going underneath as well. The Broodlords are getting very, very low. Really good Storm on top of the Banelings.
Yeah, those force fields were absolutely awesome, but DRG still pushing ahead and doing decent damage with these Broodlords infested Terrans, trying to defend as well. The blink under the Broodlords. Does HerO have enough Stalkers?
It looks like he's going to pick off all but 2 of the Broodlords. He is warping in a few more Stalkers now, so we can get back under those. There we go, just 1 more Broodlord remaining, and it does fall.
Oh man, DRG, you know, he still has that unit advantage. He's bringing in some Speedlings now to take advantage of the fact that HerO doesn't have a lot to defend against this. Forced to Storm right on top of his own units, and an Immortal goes down. DRG continuing to push ahead here. He may just barely have enough with all his reinforcements.
It looks like he's finally going to make a few Roaches as well and start to rebuild this Corruptor and eventually Broodlord count as well. These are a lot of very cheap units moving in now.
Yes,
a whiff of a Storm, and that may be enough for the Zerglings to get in and do all the damage they want.
Yeah, DRG absolutely destroying this 4th phase of Liquid HerO, and if he loses this, he's not going to have a lot of mining left. Oh man, DRG so far ahead supply-wise, and he's got 9 more Corruptors on the way. He's got a big bang, takes out the Nexus.
Man, those Zealots are good, though, I have to say.
Not bad,
3+2 Zealots. They can tear through a lot of Zerglings. Yeah. Roach is finally coming down to start pushing those units back. HerO just trying to defend on 3 bases. He's basically mined out, as you kind of mentioned before, of his remaining mining bases.
Yeah.
DongRaeGu, on the other hand, is working off of 2 basically full bases at the moment, along with a 3rd that still has some minerals left while he establishes another one down here in the bottom right-hand corner.
Fleet Beacon and Dark Shrine on the way for HerO. You know what they say, I mean, when behind, go Dark Shrine, right? So he's going to try to use that to buy a little bit of time to get the Mothership out. Look at his resources, though. They're all very, very low. DRG making a lot more Broodlords, and HerO won't really have the Blink Stalker count potentially to handle those. So it's going to be pretty tough for HerO from here on out, but DRG, by the same token, needs to be very safe. He needs to be careful about what units he decides to make, needs to make sure that he's staying on top of his macro, taking more bases if he can. So by no means is this game over just yet, although HerO was able to swing the pendulum a little bit in his favor with these last couple minutes.
Quite a lot of it in his favor, if I do say so myself. But yeah, so a smattering of Archons, a couple of Templar here or there, and a fair number of Blink Stalkers. That's pretty much all that's at HerO's disposal at the moment. He is sitting on 68 workers still, so when this base comes back up, his supply is going to skyrocket again. Unfortunately, he just needs the gas income. I mean, sitting on all these, he can't really do anything with a huge warping of Zealots other than defend Roaches. So
the saddest Roach in the world. He's like, I don't know why I'm here. These guys know why they're here. Killing some more probes, forcing Liquid HerO to pull back, defend a little bit. Good, inexpensive way to do some damage.
Not the biggest deal in the world for HerO, though. I mean, he could afford to lose a couple of workers. Again, it's that gas income that he really needs right now for continued Templar, eventually for a Mothership if he decides to go down that route. But for now, it looks like he's just going to move out and start positioning on the map with a few forces that he has. DongRaeGu is once again almost maxed, and he's got a fair Spinecrawler force pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, and you need that. I mean, at this point in the game, you really need to have a lot of those defenses. And because, like you mentioned, there was that one game that HerO played against Onion Prime. DRG, no doubt, has seen that game. And in that game, HerO attacked over and over again into the defensive position that his Zerg opponent had. Didn't end up working out. This is a little bit different, but a lot of the same principles do apply.
And DongRaeGu going to start moving down this ramp once again. That's even more Broodlords this time. 14 of them, as a matter of fact. We'll see if HerO has enough to make another miracle stand.
That's right. Here we go. HerO coming in from both sides, but DRG has a good amount of units. Storm going down on the infestors. Oh, the feedbacks taking out some of those infestors as well. That's so many Broodlords, though. Oh, man.
He's cutting through them pretty quickly, but
yes,
the Broodlords are starting to win the war of attrition. A few more Stalkers making their way in. The Broodlord count has been reduced to 10, but that's still 10 too many for Liquid HerO.
Reduced to 10 Broodlords is not exactly something that'll make him comfortable. GG, DRG coming back and winning a game in a do-or-die situation. And now he needs to win 3 more games like that if he wants to take this. It is a big hill to climb, but
yeah, it is.
DRG quite capable of that task.
But HerO kind of showing a little bit of chink in the armor there as, you know, I mean, it's going to be showing that he can indeed lose a game against DongRaeGu. Who would have thought that going into the tournament, though, that he would have had such a dominant performance up to now. So we'll see what map he picks.